Coach, welcome to Indiana. What excited you about the possibility of joining this coaching staff?
Well, there's several things that I think anyone looks at. I think the number one thing is you want to know who you're working with. Certainly the place is important, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but the people you work with, particularly when you're working anywhere from 80 to 100 hours a week, you want to know who you're with daily, whether things are going really well or things aren't going so well. It's good to know who you're with. And I knew who Coach Wilson was. I'd worked with some people who'd worked with him, and they had told me a lot of things about him. Very, very hardworking, a very competitive guy, which was attractive to me. If you're going to do anything, you want to do it the best you can. I had also coached against several of the guys on the defensive side of the ball, and didn't really know them well, but I had coached against them and actually run across them in recruiting. Doug Mallory, I'd run across in recruiting. I'd coached against him, and he was at LSU, and I was at Georgia. Mike Eckler actually was at LSU, and I was at Georgia, and I actually played at Kansas State when I coached at Iowa State, and actually can remember competing against him when he was a player. He was a very competitive guy. And Mark Hagan was at Purdue. Again, when I was at Georgia, we actually played those guys in a bowl game, and we had some dealings with them. So I kind of knew some of the guys. We knew who each other were, but it's very comfortable. They seem like really good guys, and that's something that's very attractive to being here. I'd always heard nothing but good things about the city of Bloomington and about Indiana and how they kind of go together. I've lived in college towns most of my life, and there's something very attractive about that to me, being in a town of this size, and yet you're close to a place like Indianapolis, and yet you have a nice university like Indiana. So there are a lot of very positive things, both from a professional sense, but also from a personal sense for me and my family. Great place for my wife Marcy and our two little boys to grow up. So it's very attractive in more ways than one.
You've coached at some of the best college football programs in the country, but you've also coached at some programs that were part of building projects when you were there. You see Indiana as a place where a winner can be built?
I have been at some places where, as the saying would go, you're fighting with a shorter stick, or maybe you don't have as many bullets in your gun as someone else does. And certainly we all know that some schools or some places have more resources, whether it's population or geographics or money or whatever it might be, towards winning. But in recent times there have been different examples of people proving that you can win anywhere. And I was a part of a program in Manhattan, Kansas, at Kansas State, which, even though I was there, I still shake my head how well Coach Snyder used the resources that he had. And not only was competitive, but obviously he had, I think he had 6 out of 7 years at one time. He had 11 win seasons. And a lot of it has to do with timing, the timing of your league, how strong your league is at that particular point. But that proves anything, because Kansas State, I think, lost more games, lost 500 games quicker than any other school in the history of college football. And yet what they are doing then and even now proves that it can be done. It's maybe a harder formula, but it can be done. And of course, it was good for me to be a young coach at the Washington States and the Iowa States to learn how to coach and how to recruit and evaluate, and not be at a place where it comes easy, so to speak. And so I am excited about that. Let's put it this way, it doesn't make me blink an eye to think that I'm going to a place where you've got a lot of work to do, okay? It actually excites me. I'm very competitive to prove that something can be done that a lot of people wonder if it can be, and I'm sure Coach Wilson feels the same way, or he wouldn't be here.